Welcome to the very first episode of Cell Reports. This is where we take an in-depth look at players, teams, and managers. So sit back and relax, as today we are going to be looking at Emi Buendia. Press that bell notification button and make sure that you're notified for whenever we go live. We've got tons and tons of videos coming out, so you want to be part of this. Now, for the majority of this report, I'll be looking at stats from last season, that is the 2019 and 2020 season. This is when Buendia made a name for himself in the Premier League in the Norwich midfield. I'll be contrasting this with the performances of this season in the Championship and if he has really improved as a player. But before we begin with all of that, let's look at how he would fit into the team. Buendia plays mainly just one position, and that's on the right wing. Arsenal's right wing has been a bit of a problem over the years. We had people like Gervinho, Gnabry and Theo Walker holding on the fray, and now we have Nicolas Pepe, who's come in and has unsuccessfully done that and hasn't really replaced Theo Walker as he should have. Buendia is a classical winger by trade and is very capable of playing that role, as that's the only role he occupies. And in 2019 in the Prem, for a struggling Norwich side, he played in all 38 of his games, in which 28 of those games came from starts and 8 of them came from the bench. This shows that he's also have a good record of injury, like he's pretty much injury free, being able to complete 2,465 minutes out of possible 3,420 minutes kind of shows this. He has added up to 6 assists and popped up with a goal in that season. As you imagine, the Championship it might be a slightly lower standard, but for players of Emiliano Buendia's trade, wingers, attacking midfielders, strikers, you name it, it is very hard to create chances and score goals. But for him, he has thrived this season. He has got 7 assists so far, which is more than any Arsenal player. And he has also scored 7 times, and he has started less games. In fact, he started 19 games in total this season. Pretty much no sub appearances, so he's been pretty much key for Norwich. He has bettered his SPG stats, which is shots per game stats, from 1.1 last season to 3.1 this season. This shows that he has found himself in more spaces to shoot, and with a similar key passes ratio improving from 2.3 to 3.3 per game. It shows that he has no problem finding space to create and make these key passes, as well as make these key shots or get his shots away. This shows he fits right into Arteta's wing focus system, albeit as a wing option, someone to hug the touchline, crossing the ball, and his long ball stats kind of aid this, with the player completing 1.5 crosses per game and has already completed 3.3 long balls a game, which suits Arteta's plans because of how deep he likes his players to be when defending. Passing percentage has dropped this season, but that could be due to a change of leagues. They might have been playing more long balls, especially with these stats shutting up since the start of the Championship, increasing from 2.3 to 3.3. Buendia will be a fine addition to the team, and a player of his talent and Premier League experience, he'll be a like-for-like change. It will almost be as if he has been there for years. But what are the details of the transfer? Well, according to Team Talk, Norwich is after 40 mil for the player, which is a 24 million increased value of transfer marked, who valued him at 16 million. This does not represent good value for money, and The Athletic has actually reported that Arsenal have called off talks as a result of the 40 million price tag that Norwich has placed on them, and other Championship players who are and Arsenal, they themselves, they know that this is kind of an unrealistic transfer fee to command for a player in the Championship, and most importantly for someone who has played in the Prem and have been relegated. His value is not gonna, he was always gonna shoot down. But his performances has been key this season. But the reason why I believe that this doesn't represent value for money is the teams in and around him. So you have the players in and around him that made similar moves last summer. So you had players such as Ollie Watkins of Brentford, and you also have Emre Eze of Queen's Park Rangers, who made a 15 million move to I believe to a Premier League club. I can't remember at this time. It just came off the top of my head right now. And of course, Ollie Watkins made a move to Aston Villa. Ollie Watkins cost 28 million, and that's pretty much that was. I still feel like it was a bit inflated, even though Watkins did hit the ground running. It was still a little bit inflated. So for Buendia to cost 40 million, I think is a bit of a reach, especially considering he will add into our midfield. That is not for debate. He's definitely going to add into our midfield. He's definitely going to improve our midfield, improve our the way that we transition into attack. But the realistic kind of analysis that I saw this morning from the AFTV, I haven't seen the video, but I saw the tagline in which AFTV said that Buendia kind of has to force a transfer out of Norwich. That is true. If he's going to claim loyalty and claim that he's going to be loyal to Norwich, he best be loyal. Arsenal needs to look for other targets then, because there's no way paying 40 million for this player will be justified, especially when he has other targets as well as players that can already play the position. We have Willian and we have Pepe. Yes, on a much lower scale, but at the same time, we already spent 72 million on a player that isn't firing, and it makes more sense to get him to try and fire rather than throw money at it, which clearly money hasn't solved that issue. So I think we have to be realistic about this, and we have to stick with what we have on the right wing position, especially with Pepe as well as Bukayo Saka as well, who has made a massive strides on the right wing position, cutting into his left. There are also reports in which we're gonna pay 25 mil plus Reece Nelson and Joe Willock. Unless these moves are loan deals, it's still again a waste of potential in terms of Reece Nelson, who had a very good Bundesliga performance last year. I think it was at Hertha Berlin, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it was really insane. I mean, Reece Nelson can actually play on the right and the left, even though I do think Arteta prefers to use him on the left to cut him inside. He is pretty much an asset and can be a lot better than Buendia. That didn't make sense to me. They don't need this player like this. I mean, he can make improvements, but not like this. In all fairness, they should be targeting replacements for Xhaka, Socrates, and obviously we need to replace Mesut Ozil. So we don't need to spend this much money on a position that already has 3 players capable of playing there. They're just not getting opportunities in terms of Reece Nelson, or they're just not on form in terms of Nicolas Pepe and Willian himself. So nah, it's not realistic. They also need a new left back and a new left-sided central midfielder as well as a right back. They need a left back to cover Tierney, not to replace him. They need a left-sided central midfielder to replace Xhaka, and they need a right back to kind of replace Bellerin, who I think we should cash in on when Barcelona come knocking. And once again, I don't mean to state the obvious, but a 10. We need a 10. Most importantly, we need a 10. We need our resources to try and get in a number 10 to aid Emile Smith-Rowe's development, because without that being sorted out, we're just going to go right back into the same problems that we faced early on this season. That's definitely how I see this transfer. I know a lot of Arsenal fans want this transfer to happen, but I personally don't. Maybe at 15 mil, but not at 40 mil. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. What do you think of this transfer? Do you want it to happen? Do you think that Arsenal do you think he's worth the gamble of 40 million or 25 million cash plus deal? What kind of price do you think is fair for him? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.